Y'all know the vibes. Happy Friday to all the good people out there. Julien Virgin live on location at the Crib on a Friday night, which y'all know about it. This is NFC Now, the NFC 161 preview show. We had to give it to you. My man Jesse Wade was about to log on in 2.2 seconds. Just give him a second. He on the way. He coming. I just wanted to get on here, get it popping with everybody. Y'all go ahead, come in. Come on. It's all good. We got time. What's up? Once you come in, just let me know who you are. Just drop your name down there, man. Just say what's up. Say what's up to your boy, man. Happy Friday. We got fights tomorrow. We got to talk about them. That's why I'm here. We got to talk about the fights tomorrow. If I'm not mistaken, let me make sure I just get this right. We got 24 fights. 24 of them things at NFC 161, which will be live tomorrow, Saturday. Doors at 4, fights at 5. Again, we got 24 fights to get to. When you come in, just drop a comment. Let me know what's up. Yo, hit me with yo. Damn, I hate how like on this program, I can't see who it is. It just says Facebook user. That's crazy. Let me get right. Hold up. Let me shout out to you. Let me go ahead and see who it is, man. That's crazy. Let me get right. David Wilson. Yo, what up? Jennifer Eberhardt Moore. What up? Happy Friday. Love to the fam. Hope all is well. Nathan Rivera. Julian, I got a shirt for you, dog. I received. Thank you for the love. Shout out to my man, Nathan Rivera. And just so everybody knows, that I just want to be clear. It's Julian with an E, not an A. It's love. I know the autocorrect. I know the world want me to be regular. But it's Julian with an E, not an A, man. What's up? Marcel, athlete from Team Lima in Swanee, Georgia. What up? Happy Friday. Baby Hope. You know what? I knew it was Baby Hope, and I wanted to say it, but I couldn't tell by the little emoji without clicking on. Baby Hope, what up, though, man? Happy Friday. We looking forward to you coming back to the NFC. Again, when y'all come into the stream, drop your name in the comments. Let me shout you out. Shout out to my man, the undefeated, the undisputed, the pound for pound champion of the National Fighting Championship. The man who constructed the biggest, the baddest, the greatest card to start the year. If this is how we starting, it's only up. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, my man Jesse Arnold Wable.
What Julien.
Good to see you.
How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm happy to talk to you. I was on Monday, but I knew our time was coming. We haven't talked all year, man. Happy New Year, brother.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you. How's everything going?
We are maintaining a lot of moving parts, but I think we're all excited about what's about to pop off tomorrow. You were at weigh-ins today. Before we go into all the fights, just what was the energy like in the building as we prepare for NFC 161?
Yeah, the weigh-ins were good. All the fights are still good to go. We've got 24 fights between wrestling, Muay Thai, MMA, professional MMA. All the fights are still good to go. We did have a couple people miss weight, but all in all, everything is still good to go and official.
A couple people miss weight. Do we want to highlight that right now? We want to just start off on the top, like who missed weight, or we want to go into it as we hit through every fight?
I guess as we hit through every fight, yeah.
Say less. Well, let's go ahead and get it cracking. Again, Jesse, your name's been out here in these streets too. Every time we're on the podcast, everybody is really bragging about this card in particular. Again, before we actually go through the card, how are you just feeling about just the preparation and seeing it all kind of take place and all 24 fights still being here?
Yeah, man, I'm just glad that, all 24 are still happening. I figured it would fall down to like, under 20, 15, something like that. But yeah, we were lucky. All the fights stayed together, and yeah, it's going to be a like I said, a longer fight card. We are starting earlier than normal. We're starting at 5 o'clock opposed to 7 o'clock like normal. So yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and get into it, man. Fight number 1, which starts at 5 o'clock, is going to be a wrestling match between my man Stephen Cramble and Stephen. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. Stephen Cramble versus Michael Farmer.
Yeah, kicking the night off with wrestling. Jacob Howland, who is our wrestling matchmaker, put together 3 pretty good wrestling matches on this card. I'm not super familiar with Michael. Stephen Cramble has been on our cards before. He's done jiu-jitsu for us in the past. Yeah. I believe he's out of Megalodon. So yeah, expecting a good match there. I know in his jiu-jitsu match, he hit a nice fireman's carry takedown. So I could tell he was definitely a wrestler. So yeah, excited to see him in there against a newcomer in Michael Harner.
I'm looking forward to that. I want to know for those who are not familiar with wrestling and the point system, the scoring, could you give us a breakdown about what we're going to be seeing?
I believe it's 2 3-minute rounds, and I believe it's folk style rules. I could be wrong. Jacob Howland is the expert when it comes to the wrestling matchmaking and all that. But I believe it's 2 3-minute rounds, and if it's tied after that, then it's going to go to a 3rd round, or maybe like fastest escape or something like that.
Shout out to my man Jacob Howland. We got to get him on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, hold on, let me send him the link right now. And just for clarification, Jesse, you'll see me looking around a lot. I'm actually, as we speak, filling out our cards for this evening. This is the card that I have, everybody, and I'm filling them out too. So like, as we talk about the fights, shout out Bare Knuckle Fighting. Look at David. Yeah. David's official, man. But as we talk about the fights, I'm also making my cards too. So if you see me not looking at you, it's not because I am not listening.
No, you're fine.
And I'm sending this link to Jacob Howland too. So because we're gonna need a update on the rule set. I want to make sure that we get that right. I'm putting this out there. Boom. Cool. All right, let's get to it. Fight number 2. It is going to be another wrestling match. We have Giovanni Butler versus Anthony Smith.
Yeah, two advanced amateur MMA guys going at it in wrestling. Both, when they fight, definitely do display a lot of wrestling. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Actually, like I said, I've seen both of those guys fight a lot over the years, and to see them go at it in a different sport and wrestling, it's going to be cool.
I love that point that you just made. Like, we've seen both of these guys compete, and now they're just like, hey, let's just put our wrestling skills to the like. This is an awesome match, just on the face of it. If this was the MMA match, like I think we're all in on that too. So yeah, just being that this is for a wrestling match showcase rather. I'm excited about that one.
Bragging rights almost.
Yeah, I like that. And maybe we can get like a wrestling belt in rotation. I know David's really big on the belts nowadays. Maybe a wrestling belt as we move forward. Just throwing it out there. Fight number 3, amateur Muay Thai. 10-ounce gloves. Essence Freeman, Asia Pack.
Yeah, that's going to be good. They had an intense stare down today at the weigh-ins. Both made weight. Essence came in a little bit underweight, which was good, and she was proud of herself, which she should be. Yeah, that was an intense stare down today between her and Asia Pack, and I'm excited for it. Asia was not backing down. She looks like she's ready to go, and yeah, that's going to be a great fight. Amateur Muay Thai, and Essence is going to kick off the night with a bang, going against Asia Pack.
Give me a little bit more context about the stare down. What kind of energy was everybody on?
Yeah, Essence was pretty pumped up. Like I said, she got right in her face, Louise Brewington style, just right on her, right in her face. It was pretty. Like I said, I'm all about the stare downs and the theatrics and everything, and it definitely pumped me up. And I was like, all right, yeah, I'm way more excited about that fight now than I was.
So Asia, was she? I saw some pictures of it, and I wish I had some pictures so I could show y'all. It seemed like Asia wasn't phased though.
No, she wasn't. That was the thing. Yeah, she's game. I can tell this is going to be an intense fight. It's going to be a good back and forth fight. I can tell.
I had Asia on the pod the other day. We were talking about her family running the beauty supply stores. How did you find Asia? Was this just through her affiliation with the gyms up in Kennesaw?
Yeah, I believe her coach Frank Mariska sent me her name and said she was looking to fight. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, man, I matched so many fights. Sometimes I forget. I believe I had her matched versus somebody, and her opponent pulled out. And when her opponent pulled out, Essence was somebody that came to my mind, and I hit Essence up, and she took a little bit and agreed to the fight, and that's how that fight came about.
I had Essence on the podcast, and she also talked to me about the stipulations that the commission put on to her. As a matchmaker, how aware are you, or how involved are you in that process where the commission is kind of throwing these stipulations up and around?
Yeah, I'm definitely in the mix. As far as knowing what's going on with the commission and everything. I was a little worried. I was hoping that nothing would happen and the fight would get canceled last minute, but luckily everything went good, and Essence met all the stipulations, and like I said, came in this time underweight like a professional, and she seems like she's ready to go. So yeah, I'm pumped for that one.
Shout out to that. Again, that's fight number 3, amateur Muay Thai. I mean, this card is so fine. That's fight number 3. Like, come on now. Like, it is to be argued that Essence Freeman is one of the biggest names in the NFC. Everybody knows who Essence Freeman is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. For that to be fight number 3, y'all make sure you get there early. Fight number 4, TJ Schaefer versus Brock Saden, and that's amateur MMA 3-minute rounds. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so Brock Saden is making his NFC debut for us. He fights out of Champions Training Center under Moose and Corbray. I've seen one of his fights on YouTube. He looked like he was a pretty strong, powerful guy. Was a pretty grappling heavy. And he's going to be going against TJ Schaefer out of American Top Team Lima, who also he has fought Christian Turner. He's the only person that took Christian Turner to a decision as an amateur. Wow. And then his last fight was against Blake Cash, who, that fight was a very entertaining back and forth, 1-round fight, but an entertaining fight nonetheless. And TJ Schaefer got Blake out of there with a first-round rear naked choke. But, TJ Schaefer going against Brock Saden, ATT versus CTC. That's a great matchup for sure.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a good one. And that's, if I'm not mistaken, what is that, middleweight?
170, so welterweight.
Big boys going throwing down in that fight. Again, that's amateur MMA. On the fight number 4, we got some more amateur MMA, 3-minute rounds between Jordan Heath and Emery Searles.
Yeah, Searles. Yeah, I was
Searles. Yeah, that's a unique one. Searles.
Yeah. So Emery has fought for us twice now. He fought on our the first time we did the NFC Conflict and Aries mix down at Bubby's gym. He was on that card. Fought for us at Tannery on October 14th recently against Tariq Masha. He's 2-0, fighting out of Rush MMA. And shout out to Emery. He actually took this fight on 5 days' notice.
Wow.
Jordan Heath's opponent backed out. Asked to reschedule the fight for March. But Jordan Heath, I threw Emery's name at Jordan, and even though Emery was already 2-0 and Jordan was 0-0, Jordan was up for the challenge and accepted the fight. So, this is going to be a good fight at 185 pounds. The stare down was good today. Both are coming out of good gyms, and every time I've seen Emery Searles fight, it's been exciting. So I expect another one like that tomorrow.
See, just that context right there that you gave us, Jesse, is why this show is so important. Like, you just letting us know, hey, Emery stepped in on 5 days' notice, and Jordan could have not taken this fight. The 0-2, the 2-0 versus a debut. That's what we need to know as a community going in to watching this fight. Again, that's Jordan Heath versus Emery Searles. What weight is that being contested at?
185 pounds.
185. We got some middleweights in there.
Shout out to Emery for being on weight and being close to weight and being available. Like I said, sometimes it's hard to find fights for guys on 5 days' notice, but it's good for him. And
this is Rush MMA too. The same gym that has our main event.
Yeah, Chase Boutwell. Yep. Any
other Rush MMA guys?
No, that'll be it for this card. Just Chase and Emery.
Shout out to them, man. Fight number 6, we got amateur MMA, Andrew Walker versus Dustin Ridings.
Yeah, that's amateur MMA at heavyweight. Both of these guys are making their debuts, which is awesome because we definitely need a lot more heavyweights out there. If there's one division where it's hard for me to match fights, it is heavyweight. So yeah, having two new 0-0 heavyweights on the card is awesome. Andrew Walker is an entertaining guy. He's actually helping some with our pay-per-view tomorrow. Him and his team. But yeah, he's entertaining. Has already messaged me saying he wants to fight on our 420 card. Says he wants to fight for a 420 belt. Is which is good. I like it. I definitely have a couple names for him if he does win. But he's going against Dustin Ridings, who I believe was in contention to win the Halloween costume contest. He came out dressed like the pimp with Ric Flair.
Shout out to him.
That is the guy who was fighting. And he's got a great walkout song. I'm not going to spoil it, but that's going to be it's a WWE walkout song, so I'm a little more excited. That's all I'll say. But yeah, two guys at heavyweight throwing down 0-0. Sounds like a fun time.
Tell me about the gyms that they're representing again.
So Andrew Walker, I believe, is fighting out of I don't want to get this wrong. Odyssey. I know he's got out of Odyssey, and I want to say he also trains at Kenny Kim or maybe Bangkok. Definitely Odyssey. But Dustin Ridings is fighting out of Georgia Pro MMA.
Okay, shout out to Georgia Pro MMA putting out these guys as well. Fight number 7, amateur kickboxing, 10-ounce gloves. Dmitry Lipinski versus Lee Height. And if I'm messing up any names right now, let me mess up right now before tomorrow comes. You feel me?
Yeah.
If y'all have any corrections that y'all want to make them right now. Go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah, that's going to be, I believe, amateur kickboxing. I think they have some kind of a waiver involved in this fight to where it is just going to be a boxing fight. But it's labeled amateur kickboxing. I think they had to deal with some kind of stuff with the commission, fill out a bunch of paperwork and have things signed off on. It's really a big headache to do that, which is why I don't really do that for many other fights. But I believe these guys are two roofers that have some beef with each other. Charlene Dixon knows a little bit more about this than I do.
Word.
But anytime two guys got beef and want to get in the cage, NFC is definitely trying to, make it happen in the NFC cage. And yeah, excited about it. They had a pretty tense stare down today, and tomorrow night they're going to go in there. It looks like they're throwing hands only, so I'm excited for it.
Word. So yeah, I kind of got in just a little bit on the beef, or just the backstory, not the beef, the backstory behind the roofing business. This is a whole industry. You know what I'm saying? The same way MMA is an industry, wrestling is an industry. This is an industry, and they train. They want to have an opportunity to go ahead and put this out there, and maybe. Like, dang, that would be hot if you just had there has to be a bragging rights belt or something, maybe a little something extra that we do for this, like a trophy or something. But yeah. I like this energy. And I think, yeah, if there is beef in a certain industry and you want to handle it in the cage, NFC is the place for you. That is Dmitry Lipinski versus Lee Height. Fight number 8, we got amateur MMA, Takel Young versus Nick Dye. Okay, my boy Nick Dye back on the card. That's my guy.
Yeah, I'm excited about that fight. Takel Young, although 0-1, his fight was against Aaron Trey McDaniel, who is undefeated, just won an amateur championship for another promotion. He fights out of Columbus. And he's going against Nick Dye, who's 2-0 out of SBG Athens, also trains a little bit at SBG Atlanta. I've seen him down at Buford a couple times. Yeah, that's going to be a good fight. Like I said, although Takel is 0-1, his fight against Aaron Trey McDaniel was a split decision. You could argue that he may have won the fight. It was really close. And going against Nick Dye, who's 2-0, coming out of a great gym, SBG Athens, who is coached by Rory Singer, a UFC vet, was on the 3rd season of The Ultimate Fighter. You know what I mean? He's got great coaching there. I'm expecting a great fight at 155 pounds. If Nick can win and get to 3-0, that definitely puts him in title contention. But Takel Young, could also pick up a win over a 2-0 guy and throw his name right in the mix too. So excited for that fight. That's going to be a good fight for sure at 155 pounds.
Yeah, and just to be clear, it says amateur. Okay, yeah. Not advanced amateur. This is just amateur. Got you. So there still will be the shin guards on and only punching to the body on the ground.
Correct.
Where the plumber's at. That's funny. That's where the plumber. Yeah, that is hilarious. Fight number 9. We got wrestling, and for this, Jesse Wable, I do want to bring in NFC's wrestling matchmaker, none other than Jacob Howland. Let's go ahead and get him in here. Jacob,
hey,
what up?
What's going on, everybody?
What's up, Jacob?
Hey, thank you for joining us.
Yes,
we're doing well, man. Thank you for joining us, brother.
good, man. Cool. Yeah, I just got done training the kiddos. I had a couple kids I was teaching, and I just saw your message as I was leaving the gym. I just got back home.
Thank you for just being like Johnny on the spot. We started the program and we got to talking about some of these wrestling matches, and we just wanted to get some clarity from NFC's wrestling matchmaker. What is it that we should be expecting to see? Can you tell us about the rule sets for those who are unaware?
All right. So first with the rule sets, I took the Olympic freestyle wrestling rules and modified it just slightly for the cage. What that does is make it fan friendly for the viewer, and it also still true to the sport of wrestling. So freestyle wrestling in the Olympics, there's a step out. If you go out of bounds, there's like a point. Obviously, we're in a cage, so there's no step out point. Some of the rules in Olympic style is if you get a leg lace, you can roll that thing and you can end the match in like 10 seconds. So I took that away from them. So they have to get a new hold in order to score points. So that way the match doesn't end in like 10 seconds and everybody in the crowd sitting there like, what just happened? 15-point tech fall, which means if you're up by 15 points, the match is over. All other wrestling rules apply, and they can use the cage just as they would in an MMA fight, offense, defense. So that's a new element for wrestlers. So it's for the most part, it's 90% true to the sport of wrestling with the rules, just with no step outs. And then if there's a passive wrestler, if there's no scoring attempts being made, one of the wrestlers is going to go on a shot clock. They have 30 seconds to score. If they don't score within 30 seconds, their opponent gets a point.
Now, I want to know, how does this
eventually
I want to know, how do I go about announcing it? Like, are you signaling, hey, like this is a point? How are we to work together to make sure that everybody in the crowd is clear that might not be aware of the wrestling scoring system?
Okay, so a takedown, just a regular takedown is 2 points. If a wrestler takes their opponent from their feet to their back and initiates the whole process, that's a 4-point move. If a wrestler throws their opponent in a legs overhead, that's a 5-point move. Once they're on the ground, they have about roughly 5 seconds or so to turn past 90 degrees to get an exposure, which will be an additional 2 points for the wrestler that's making the turn. If there's no attempt to score, they're going right back to their feet. If there's a situation where a wrestler shoots in, initiates the first part of the takedown, and the secondary wrestler, as taking down, wraps up a chest wrap or locks in the crotch and throws, both will be awarded the points for the exposure and for the takedown, if that makes sense.
Definitely a lot to break down there. However, I'm happy that you decided to get on here just to talk to us, just to preview the crowd about what should be taking place. Now, when you were presented,
lots of throws and lots of takedowns.
Lots of throws, lots of takedowns. When you were presented with this opportunity to start matching wrestling matches in the NFC cage, what were you hoping to accomplish, and like what do you hope that the fans take away from wrestling matches inside the cage?
So honestly, I was hoping to just give another avenue for some athletes to be able to compete in front of a crowd. Not everybody does jiu-jitsu. Not everybody wants to do MMA, or there's a lot of wrestlers that are trying to transition to MMA. And this gives all those different types of folks, not only the fan side of it, but on the competition side, an opportunity to compete, an opportunity to enjoy it, to bring, more eyes to the sport of wrestling. And I think the last one did really well from all the reception I got from all the folks.
I'm really excited to see it. I don't believe I was at the last one to see it actually take place and what was happening. But this is exciting because now I'm just being introduced to a different sport that I didn't necessarily know about. And I know I may be one of the few, but I might not be the only one, right? So this is exciting. Let's talk about some of these matchups. Earlier, Jesse and we spoke on matchup number 1 between Stephen Crayonbull and Michael Farmer. Tell us how that came about and what we should expect.
Okay, there's some big boys. We're starting the card off with the big boys. I mean, these guys are 240, 250 pounds. They're going to be taking each other down and throwing. I hope David put an extra support beam there, because these guys are going to be rocking. Crane Bull's the Canadian version of an All-American. So in the United States, you make top 8 country, you're considered an All-American. He's the Canadian version of that. And Michael Farmer is a stud out of Woodland High School. Was All-State in Georgia in his career. So I'm pretty stoked about a big heavyweight matchup, because
that's kicking.
Just for MMA, it's hard to get heavyweights.
Indeed, that's kicking us off, and then we're transitioning right to Giovanni Butler and Anthony Smith. Tell us how that fight came about and what we should be expecting.
So Giovanni Butler has been me since the very first thought of this happening to get there and wrestle. And he's got a wrestling background, wrestled for, what is the name of that high school? The name of the high school he wrestled for, but he's got a long wrestling background. Anthony Smith, he saw the event last time he was at the event. He actually competed on that card. He came up to me and was like, man, I got to get on the next one. So I was like, well, you guys are about the same weight. Anthony Smith's a former NCAA All-American. So he's a high-level wrestler, and Giovanni's a well-rounded wrestler turned MMA fighter. So that's going to be an exciting match to see how that goes.
Definitely excited about that one. And now we brought you in at the point where we're talking about this next fight, which is Ronald Humphreys versus Lucius Van Rensburg.
Man, if there wasn't any MMA fights on this card, this would be like the highlight of. I mean, Jesse probably could have main evented this as a wrestling match on this fight card.
Yeah, it's a badass match. I'm excited for this one. Like, I know he's the expert, but man, dude, Humphreys and Lucius, man, that's going to be an awesome match. I'm excited for that.
I mean, I don't even really know where to begin. I mean, Lucius's resume speaks for itself. I mean, the guy on multiple national titles in South Africa. He's the Olympic trials champ for this year. I mean, in March he competes in the Egypt tournament out there to secure his bid for the Olympics. He's already made the Olympic team for South Africa, but it's weird with the Olympics. You got to like secure your weight for your country. He's got one more tournament to win, and he secures his spot for his country at the weight that he's wrestling at. Wow. And he took second in NAIA Nationals. He was a runner-up his last year at Life University. And Ron Humphrey, you guys, I mean, have all seen what he can do. He wrestled for Iowa Central. He's got a long wrestling background. Obviously, he's a dominant MMA fighter. I mean, that guy's future is huge, and he's got to have a little bit of size on Lucius. And Ron's strong, so it's going to be, Lucius is strong and he's very technical, and Ron is really strong, powerful, and athletic. So it's going to be a good clash between where the technique and the strength comes in and just overall wrestling acumen. Lucius has got the awareness of positioning because he's still in the sport pretty well. Oh, I'm just jumping in here. I think my dog wants to hop on here.
We got space.
Here he comes. Hey, Lucifer. His name's Lucifer.
Lucifer. And we talking about Lucius. Okay.
All right. So I mean, Lucius has got the technique and the strength and the positional awareness of freestyle because he's been in it. Ron has got the strength, the agility, and the athleticism to mix with his wrestling background. So I don't know which way that one's going to go, but I'm really, really excited for it.
The way y'all just talked this fight up, I am sold. I am completely sold on this match. Now, Jacob, how do you go about matchmaking?
Yes, sir.
Are you just like locked in with wrestlers here in the scene? Like how does this go? And what do you see moving forward? You see more people like, oh no, I want to wrestle on these NFC cards.
So a lot of people don't down here don't really know my background. I was a 3-time national champ out of Virginia, so I have a really wide network around the entire country. What you guys don't know is that from that very first event, this has spread amongst all the big national wrestling circuits around the country. I'm talking about up to Penn State. I talk to those guys all the time. Some of those guys are super interested. I had Roman Bravo Young message me. Just today, I was talking with Brandon Reed, who's all over Instagram. If you guys follow Jiu-Jitsu Instagram, Brandon Reed he's huge. I talked with him today. So I got a lot of high-level wrestlers, not just in the state of Georgia, but mainly I try to pair up based on credentials. I'm not going to put like a guy who said, "Oh, I wrestled for 2 years in high school against, Lucius."
Yeah.
Sure. So I try my best to try to match credentials and experience. And so far, we've done really well. We've had some really good matches. And I think tomorrow is going to be a really good show for everybody.
Jesse, you have any matchmaking trials, tribulations, lessons that you could share with Jacob? Or that you already have?
Just listening to him, I like what he's saying. He's not going to put mismatches on a card. I'm the same way. I don't ever want to see somebody fighting somebody where I know that this guy's going to win. I'd like it to be a toss-up where people are going, I have no idea who's going to win. And I really like that he's matchmaking the same way, and he's doing a great job so far. And like I said, it'll take a lot for me to get excited about like just a wrestling match. But then I see him put these matches on the cards. I'm like, damn, that's a good match. Dang, Humphreys and Lucius, man, that's a good match. He's doing a really good job. So just keep up the good work, man.
Thank you, Jesse. I appreciate it.
For certain. Now, Jacob, just a couple more things before we let you go. And I appreciate you again, just making that time to come on. And we got to have you on. We got to have you on. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we could talk. Could you see this becoming a bigger thing where belts are on the line and being contested?
Eventually, yeah, that's the goal. I mean, I've talked with David a couple times. Right now, it's just in the building phase of kind of getting it out there. And then eventually get a little bit more strict with the weight classes. More, we'll keep the same MMA weights, and then, we can have a bracket like we did with the Grand Prix and do some initial champs and then challengers from there on.
I like that energy. This is exciting. Jacob, before we part ways and we see you tomorrow, final thoughts. What do you want to leave Jesse, myself, and the entire NFC community with?
Well, first, I just want to thank Jesse and David for letting me, come up with this vision and letting me carrying it out. Because honestly, I came out of neck surgery and I was probably still on pain pills when I called David with this idea. And so I didn't know how the conversation was going to go. I just had neck surgery. I was looked at my wife and I was like, I got a great idea. And, I think David was still probably in surgery. We had surgery about the same time. So just thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to do it. And hopefully it brings some new people to the sport, to the NFC, and some different looks that people aren't used to seeing.
Looking forward to it. Jacob, thank you for just giving us that context. It was much needed on this episode of NFC Now. See you tomorrow, brother.
See you guys.
Voila, ladies and gentlemen, my guy, Jacob Hallen. Thank you for coming on the podcast. See, we asked and we shall receive. That was great context. I needed that. You know what I'm saying?
He can break it down a lot better than I can. That's for sure.
It is nothing but love.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, the undefeated, undisputed pound-for-pound champion of the National Fighting Championship, none other than my man, Jesse Wable. Joining me, Julien Virgin, here on NFC Now, our NFC 161 preview show. We just got through talking about fight number 8, match number 8, which would be that, match number 9, which is Ronald Humphreys versus Lucius Van Rensburg. Now on to amateur Muay Thai, 10-ounce gloves, 3 2-minute rounds between Devon Delorier and Matt Tyrell. Take us away.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. Devon, like I said, we always love watching him fight. Osei, his father, they're coming out of Gwinnett Training Academy. He's a really high-level striker, exciting striker. Throws a lot of, different techniques out there than most guys. He really studies things. And he's going against Matt Tyrell, fighting at a Striker Fight Center, who, like I said, is a big dude. He is 0-1 in amateur Muay Thai, but he comes out of a good gym, a Striker Fight Center. Devon, at the weigh-ins today, definitely got right in his face. Walked straight up to him, got right in his face. It was intense. It was an exciting stare down. Devon definitely walked through his last opponent, And, this Matt Tyrell guy, he looks like he's pretty tough. He looks like a big guy. He looks pretty athletic. So I'm excited. I don't know who's going to win. I don't know what's going to happen in that fight. But, every time Devon fights, it's fireworks. And then the guys from Striker Fight Center, we've got a ton of them on the card that we're going to talk about later. They always bring it. So Gwinnett Training Academy versus Striker Fight Center, I'm pumped. That's going to be a good one.
Did you have as many issues finding Devon this fight as you did the first time around?
No, I didn't. So yeah, I think Matt Tyrell was probably the first guy I offered when I knew Devon was ready to fight again, and Matt immediately said yes. And I believe I messaged Samantha, who's the manager out of Gwinnett Training Academy. I messaged her, and it was a pretty quick guess from them too. So.
Hey, shout out! I'm looking forward to this one. Devon, again, he got Sam Davis out of there in 2 rounds. Looking forward to seeing what Matt Tyrell has to offer. Fight number 11, we got amateur MMA. We got 3 3-minute rounds between Gianni Mingo and Jacob Swanson. Talk to me.
That's going to be a good fight. I've trained with Gianni in the past. He used to train at SVG Buford some. He's now at Team Lima. He's a big dude, a strong guy. He's been training for probably 4 or 5 years, as far as I know, and he's going against Jacob Swanson, who arguably had fight of the year in 2023 against Michael Campbell. It was a really awesome fight, the first fight of the night for the last Jesse Wable's amateur series. So yeah, I'm expecting a good fight between those two. Gianni did come in, I believe, 1.3 pounds overweight. Jacob Swanson was cool with it. Didn't make Gianni cut. Said, "Don't worry about it. I'm not going to make him cut," which is cool because there were some other incidents today where that wasn't the case. Takel Young missed weight against Nick Dye, and Nick Dye made him, go and lose the weight. And Takel Young went and lost the weight and ended up making weight. So Jacob didn't have to do that, but that was nice of him. Like I said, not many others would do the same. But yeah, so 1-0 versus 0-0 amateur MMA. It's going to be a good fight for sure.
Looking forward to that one. Fight number 12. We got Jason Stamm versus Jacob Shoptease.
Yeah, so Jacob Shoptease, he last fought at the Monday Night Garage. He fought, I can't remember, Joe Smith, I believe, from Independent MMA. Was a close loss. That was the only time he's fought for us. Jason Stamm, the last time he fought for us, he went against somebody from Faglier's MMA, I believe. Suffered kind of a quick loss, but messaged me and said, "Dude, that wasn't my best performance, and I'm better than that. And when I'm back, I'll show you." And yeah, going against Jacob Shoptease, it's going to be a good fight. Both of these guys are looking for their first wins. I believe Jacob is 0-1-1. Jason Stamm is 0-1. Jason Stamm is actually married to Desiree Bennett, another NFC fighter out of American Top Team Lima. So yeah, expecting a good amateur fight between those two, and one of those guys is going to walk out of there with their first win. So we'll find out who tomorrow.
Jesse, the day after fights, are you kind of like a therapist as well? You get a lot of messages, right? The day after fights, it's like, "Oh, that wasn't my best,"
I get a lot of messages, and I try my best to kind of go through and message everybody on the card and just kind of give them their props, or at least just say something to everybody on the card. Like I said, without the fighters, the NFC is nothing. And but yeah, like I've fought before, and I know the things that these guys go through, and so yeah, I don't want to say I'm like a therapist, but yeah, that's a good point. Like I can definitely I know where these guys are coming from. So yeah, it is cool being able to talk to these guys after the fights and being able to relate some where other matchmakers maybe can't.
So to be clear, you just said that after every fight, you reach out to every fighter?
I try my best to. If I don't hit every fighter, I at least hit 75% of the card, and at least saying thank you or letting them know, like, dude, how good of a fight it was, this and that. Most of the time, a lot of them reach out to me too, but I always try to get at least everybody on the card and just thank them for fighting for us. And, if you guys ever want to fight for us again, please let me know. Like I said, because without these guys, the NFC is nothing,
Honestly, that is awesome, Jesse. Like, that's a different, again, when we're able to get context about what goes on behind the scenes, what happens every day, I'm sure that makes fighters feel great. Like, hey, like the matchmaker cares about me. You know what I'm saying? Cares enough. And even if I win, lose, or draw, like cares enough just to just be like, "Yo, thank you." That matters.
Yeah.
Did you get that a lot when you were fighting?
David, I mean, really, it was from David, but yeah, David would always reach out to me as well, and David always treated me really well when I was fighting. Anything I needed, he would go above and beyond. I was kind of a pest, really, when I was fighting back in the day. David probably didn't like me very much. I would come to weigh-ins and ask for 15 tickets and this and that. And looking back, I was like, I'm sorry, David. I was an idiot back then. But
yeah,
like I said, I've been there. I've fought. I know what these guys are going through. I know all the situations. I get it. I don't think there's really anything these guys can come to me with where I'm like, dude, I've never seen this before. I don't understand. I get it.
That's why you're undisputed pound for pound champion of the National Fighting Championship. That's why people love. I haven't heard anybody say anything negative. Well, on the podcast, I have.
I'm sure there's a few people that don't really like you, and that's okay.
That's okay. It's okay. But you do. Hey, Jesse, you do right by everybody. You do right. Fight number 13. We got 3 3-minute rounds. Amateur MMA between Kevin Cuevas and Ronald Bick. Talk to me.
Yeah, Kevin Cuevas, 0-2, looking to get his first win, training out of ATT Lima. He looked a lot better his last fight. He fought Lee Alarcon, actually dropped Lee early in the first round. And if he wouldn't have made that rookie mistake of following up with ground and pound punches, he might have actually been able to finish Lee. But unfortunately, he didn't. He ended up getting caught in a submission later in the fight. But Kevin Cuevas fighting out of American Top Team Lima, going against Ronald Bick out of SVG Athens. He's making his debut tomorrow night. So I don't know a whole lot about him. I've never seen him in person except for today. It looks like a pretty even matchup. ATT, SVG, 2 of the top gyms. It should be a great fight. Kevin, all the fights that Kevin has been in so far, both fights have been exciting, win or lose for him. And SVG, they normally bring out exciting fighters. SVG definitely doesn't let anybody fight unless they're ready. So, I expect a good fight there.
To be clear, did Kevin Cuevas make weight?
So the fight was originally at 135 plus 2. Kevin Cuevas reached out to me last night to have the fight move to 138 plus 2. So 3 pounds more. I reached out to Rory Singer. He was not very happy about it. Definitely wanted the fight to be at 137 pounds, but agreed. Let's do 140. Kevin came in. He weighed 140.0 on the dot. Ronald Bick made weight. I don't know exactly what he weighed, but I know he made weight.
139.7, I believe. 139.7.
For Ronald Bick? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, but he was originally on weight. And, this is the second time that Kevin has kind of had issues making 135 pounds. So, it was close. He either needs to really dial it down and figure it out to where he can figure out how to get those last 3 pounds off, because getting those last couple pounds off really it's a bitch. Getting a lot of the pounds off beforehand is cool, but those last 2 to 3, they're really hard. So he either needs to figure that out or move up a weight class after this, but not going to take any shame away from him. It's going to be a great fight. And, Kevin Cuevas and Ronald Bick, definitely keep an eye on that one tomorrow.
Indeed. And just, again, continue to give us that context when it comes to the weights. I haven't been looking at the weights the whole time, but just let us know if the weight class was changed X, Y, and Z. And it's crazy because we were talking about that earlier this week on the podcast about how tough it is cutting weight. And I think I threw out the word miserable and
Malcolm, I don't know if that's the word.
Malcolm and Brennan. Malcolm and Brennan said, I don't know if that's the word. And I could understand where a coach like a Rory Singer is like upset that, or a fighter is like, no, you need to go cut that weight because it is a deal. So shout out to those 2 guys. We look forward to the Kevin Cuevas Ronald Bick fight. Then on to fight number 14, we got Xavier Hicks versus Griffin Newman.
Yeah, that's a banger. Griffin Newman 2-0, Xavier Hicks 1-0. Xavier apparently a prospect, a top prospect out of American Top Team Lima. I've heard a lot of good things about him. I've seen a lot of people comment on their poster saying that they think Xavier is just going to smash Griffin. Looks like an easy fight. I don't know, man. Griffin Newman's looked pretty good to me his first 2 fights. He's 2-0, has looked great. Got a really nice finish his last fight and got a good decision his first fight. Xavier Hicks picked up a first round, I believe a first or second round finish over Davin Melton at the Battery, I believe in August. But man, so 1-0 versus 2-0. Again, another ATT versus SBG Athens matchup. That's going to be a good fight. Griffin Newman is exciting. He's one of the best talkers on the mic afterwards if he does get a chance to get interviewed. So, yeah, I'm sure if Griffin Newman can get a finish tomorrow night and get an interview, I'm sure he'll put another great interview out there. But Xavier Hicks, like I said, is a prospect out of Team Lima. A lot of guys are saying he's a problem. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen in that fight.
This is a really good fight. You know, just watching both of those guys fight. I know my Griffin Newman fought Cody Chance a couple weeks ago. You know, got him out of there in one round. Xavier Hicks looked really good in his debut fight at the Battery. Had both people on. I want to know, what post are you referring to that everybody was on there talking spicy?
I just think the poster. I mean, every now and then posters may look deceiving. Like, man, this guy looks like he's going to beat the hell out of this guy. But you know, Griffin Newman is kind of like a skinnier guy. Xavier has a really good build. But Griffin Newman's like a tall, big 135er. He's fit.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he cuts a good bit of weight to make 135. So, you know, I just think a couple of the guys, you know, of course, it's probably just teammates supporting teammates. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it, but
hey, some of them posters, they be talking real spicy in the comments. You be like, you be struggling, you be like, dang, they talking.
As a matchmaker, I'm going, I don't know if this is going to be such an easy fight as you guys are thinking, but we'll see.
I saw the stare down. It looked like Griffin had a couple inches on pause. He was a little taller than Xavier, but that looks like we're gonna have a good fight, man. I'm looking at it right now. All right, cool. Yeah, I see. I believe that's Xavier in the comments saying, "I'm coming for everything."
Let's go.
Let's go. Hey, we got action. We got action. We got action tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, let's get it. Let's get it. Fight number 15. And just before we go on to fight number 15, I was looking at the fight card the lineup that was put out there, and it had TJ Holt versus Carrington Johnson as fight number 14.
Correct.
The run of show that I'm looking at has Xavier Hicks, Griffin Newman as fight number 14.
There was a change, Julian. There was a change. So the way everything worked out, I like the champions to walk out second, if I can. You know what I mean? Ben Rainwater is a champion, so I put the Striker Fight Center guys in that corner. TJ Holt is fighting a guy from Striker Fight Center. So, and Striker Fight Center is also affiliated with Warrior. So Striker and Warrior like to be in the same locker rooms. It's always a mess making these locker rooms because all these teams want to be together. Everybody and you know, I'd like the champions to walk second out of respect. No champion for the NFC is going to walk out first under my watch. But anyways, David kind of pointed out to me, hey, so we have Idell and TJ in the same locker room, and these guys are fighting 2 fights apart from each other. These guys are going to, you know, be fight ready and fight mode. It might not be the best idea to have these guys fight so close to each other. So we moved TJ up earlier just so that, you know, we don't want any tension between those guys. We know there's a little bit of history between the two. And we just want to make sure that everything's professional on fight night. You know, if those two want to talk about fighting each other after the fight, cool. But for right now, TJ's got Carrington to worry about. Idell's got Will Hughes to worry about. So we wanted to separate those fights a little bit.
That is okay. That's funny because I'm just thinking like, okay, the beef. I don't even want to call it a beef because I don't want to make it anything more than it is.
It's like a rivalry kind of like.
There's tension. There's friction. Yeah. There's friction, right?
Yeah.
And I'm laughing at all the posts that I be seeing on the internet and just having the conversation with the guys on the pod. Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of tension, competitive tension there. Initially, when I saw this, my fingers was like, yo, like, okay, what's up with this? How did this happen? But then I'm like, yo, this might be a good thing, man. This, like, you know, you throw a big fight kind of a little bit earlier in the middle of the card. And it kind of works with the ebbs and flows of the evening. So I just want to make sure, again, the run of show is a little bit different. We'll get that fixed versus the poster, but the poster is official, correct?
Correct.
All right, so let's just go ahead and get right to TJ Holt versus Carrington Johnson. Advanced amateur mixed martial arts title fight for the NFC's 145-pound belt.
I don't know, man. I'm nervous. That's going to be, man. I'm really looking forward to that fight, dude. Carrington Johnson showed up. I believe he was one of the first ones to show up today. Weighed in right on the money, 147 pounds. He was one that missed weight his last fight versus Hassan. I told him, make sure you make that weight, dude. You know what I mean? If you don't make the weight, it's not going to be for a title. And he came in right on the money this time. And TJ Holt, I believe, like I said, he was eating the buffet on the podcast on Monday, so he was already on weight. But both of those guys came in on weight, had an intense stare down, and man, I'm just so pumped for that fight. It could go so many different ways, but I really do think that Carrington is going to go in there tomorrow and try to strike with TJ. That's what I think. I could be wrong, but I really think those guys are both going to go out there and somebody's going down. I don't know who. I'd be shocked if that fight went 5 rounds. I would be absolutely shocked. I'd be shocked if it went past the first or second, to be honest with you. The way that both of those guys fight, it's just.
Oh, okay, so Jesse, I got to go back to the lineup, man. I'm feeling like we have you see, what is this, UFC 299? You got Song Yadong fighting Peter Yan as the featured prelim.
Yeah.
And that's giving me this time of vibes, man. Like, this is like the featured prelim, right?
And TJ Holt, I believe he's going to have his own. He's going to walk himself out, right, or wrap himself out tomorrow.
Like, this is. This could, if Chase and Malcolm wasn't fighting, this could headline this card.
Yeah. There's so many big names and big fights on this card. It's sweet.
And this fight is crazy. Like, if everybody is not in the building by the time this fight starts, don't come.
Yeah.
Do come. You know what I mean? But don't miss this fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the one. Carrington Johnson.
This is the absolute number 1, number 2, or number 3 fight on the card. Do not miss this fight. The main event, of course, this fight, but this is a big circle. TJ Holt, the walkout, everything. Carrington Johnson, the finish rate between both of these guys, the way that both of these guys fight. Like I said, I believe Carrington coming off a knockout win. TJ Holt has a ton of knockout wins as a multiple promotion champion. This is going to be a bang. TJ
Holt straight said it on the pod. He was like, look, this is one of those fights where, you can get clipped. I could get clipped in this fight because he saw what Carrington did last time. Oh, man, this is the fight. I'm excited about that one for the NFC's 145-pound belt. Woo! Wow. Get your popcorn ready for that one. Now we'll go on to the next one. We got Brennan Johnson versus Jeremy Medina. This is 3 3-minute rounds. Talk to me.
Yeah, another fight. So you mentioning the weight issues. I think Brennan reached out to Jeremy asking the fight to be moved up 1 pound, maybe 2 pounds. I think they ended up agreeing on 138 pounds even instead of 137. Regardless of what happened, I think Jeremy may have came in 0.3 over. Brennan came in on weight, but Brennan was the one who asked the fight to be moved up a pound. So regardless, the fight, I believe, was at 138 pounds. The fight is good to go. But none of that really matters, right? Brennan Johnson, coming off the loss to Will Hughes, is looking to redeem himself, looking to get back in title contention. Jeremy Medina, coming off a tough loss against Jaleel Malik for Elevate Fight Series for their 135-pound championship. Both guys coming off tough losses. Both guys looking to get back in the win column. And depending on what happens with this 135-pound championship later, which we have some stuff to talk about, either of these guys could be in line for a title shot. So, Brennan Johnson and Jeremy Medina both never say no to a fight. Both are game to fight anybody. And that's a badass fight for real. There's a lot of good fights on the card, but I'm always excited to see Brennan Johnson fight. Jeremy Medina is really fun to watch fight as well. And that's going to be good.
I'm really excited for that one. And I'm also just laughing about the context that you just gave us. So you're saying that Brennan Johnson says instead of 137, let's do it at 138.
I think a lot of these guys, they both probably, it's the night before weigh-ins. They're probably starving. They're thirsty. They're probably going, man, I bet you my opponent, I bet you he's doing the same thing. I bet you he weighs the same fucking thing I weigh right now. I'm going to just message this guy. Hey, let's try to just move hey, what do you weigh? You want to just move the fight up to 40? You want to move it up to 40? I know that's what they're doing. The master of doing that is Nathan Williams. Nathan Williams will message me before every fight and try to get his fight moved up 2 to 3 pounds. But
wait. Brennan Johnson comes in at 137.5, while Medina comes in at 138.3.
Yeah, what? And I believe Medina was saying, nah, man, let's keep it at 37, and then agreed to 38. Like I said, it's all really funny. It's all stupid, kind of. But these guys they're close enough in weight. It's a great even matchup. They both got great records, man. And it's the advanced amateur MMA. Both are definitely 100% in title contention. So 1,000%. It's a big fight to look at tomorrow night.
It's a big fight. And again, like no harm, no foul, right? It was just the irony because it's just very funny because like again, they're both very much so within weight. Yeah. Like that was funny. Again, this is one of those circleable fights. Both of these guys, again, if let's just say if something happens in the title fight, we'll get to that. One of these guys could have easily stepped in, right? Yeah. Next fight, Cesar Garibay versus Cody Chance. Talk to me.
Another weight miss, Julian. So Cesar Garibay could not make the weight, asked the fight to be moved to 132 pounds. And I believe he still came in a little over the weight. But Cody Chance was game. He wanted to take the fight anyways. So, yeah, unfortunate that, Cesar missed the weight. He said that after this fight, he's going to move to 135 pounds. The weight cut is just too much for him. I really think a lot of these weight misses today is just due to the holidays. It's Christmas. It's freezing outside. Nobody wants to do anything. Not that nobody wants to be, it's lazy season. You know what I mean? It's cold. You can't get your miles in outside unless you're a crazy person that runs in 30-degree weather. So I think just a lot of these guys miss weight just due to the holidays, maybe eating too many Christmas cookies, whatever. But
you gonna give them, is this you giving them a pass, Jesse?
I mean, I'm not trying to, but but I think that could be it. But like I said, but like at the comment right there, excuses. There really isn't an excuse to miss weight. Most of these guys are given 6 to 8 weeks notice for these fights. They know what they're supposed to weigh in at. So, but it is what it is. Shout out to Cody Chance for saying, hey, let's fight anyways, because they do have the option to pull out of the fights. If the opponent doesn't miss weight, they can simply say, like, look, I made weight. You didn't. I'm not fighting. And Cody Chance said, nah, I did the work. I've trained hard. I'm ready to fight. Let's just do it. And Cody Chance and Cesar are going to throw down tomorrow night.
Looking forward to that one. Again, that fight was supposed to be at 127. It's being contested at 132, or just a little bit over that. Is it 130?
130, 132, something
okay.
Like that.
Okay. All right. Got you.
Yeah.
Next fight, Full Rules Muay Thai. 8-ounce gloves, 3 2-minute rounds between Khalil Sims and Jamarcus Hall.
Another weight miss. So, yeah, like I said, there was a lot today. Khalil Sims was 151 on his 7-day out weight check. And then last night somehow was 152. I'm not sure how that happens, but it happened.
What?
Start over. I know. Sounds crazy, right? He's 151 7 days out, and then the day before weigh-ins is 152. He gained a pound. I don't know how that happens. But anyways, the fight was supposed to be at 135 plus 2. Jamarcus's team agreed to move the fight up to 140 plus 2. They said if Khalil doesn't weigh 142, we're not fighting. Shout out to David Obos. David Obos bought a sauna, a $200 sauna, a portable sauna to bring to the weigh-ins for these fighters that do miss weight, that maybe have a title on the line. Because, if you don't make weight for a title fight, you're not fighting for the title. Or for pros that have to make weight or else they'll get money taken away. David Obos just again upping the standard for these fight promotions, bought a $200 portable sauna to bring to the weigh-ins in case of emergency. And Khalil Sims was one of the 2 fighters that had to use it today. Unfortunately, he didn't get down to 142 pounds. He got down to, I believe, 143 and a half.
144.3.
144.3. Okay. So at that point, I had to get on the phone with Jamarcus's coach. They kind of had to go back and forth with each other. And I think they just agreed, like, look, I believe Jamarcus drives a couple hours out here to fight. Said, look, we didn't come all this way to not fight. Jamarcus, I believe, has around 24 to 25 amateur fights. And he just said, like, look, let's just do it. So they agreed to fight. And Khalil Sims and Jamarcus Hall is going to go down tomorrow night. Full rules, Muay Thai, no shin guards, elbows are allowed. And every time Jamarcus Hall fights, it's a banger. Khalil Sims as well. And, yeah, that's going to be a great one.
Jamarcus Hall, I think he's one of the more underrated fighters on the NFC card, and on just on the roster. Like, Jamarcus Hall has fought everybody at 135 pounds.
He's a fighter's fighter, man, and he's a matchmaker's like dream. Like, this guy, if there's a guy in his weight class who's available, he'll fight him. If Jamarcus is available on whatever card and I send him a guy at this weight, it's say less. Let's do it. And I love guys like that.
Respect to Jamarcus Hall. I like him. I got to get him on the podcast. I got to get Jamarcus Hall on the podcast. Handle your business. We'll get on the pod. Next fight, Chad Risley, Tommy Brown.
Yeah. Tommy Brown.
Tommy B.
Yeah, Tommy B. Tommy Blunts Brown. That's going to be a great fight. Going against Chad Risley, who just, I believe, was at Team Alpha Male out in California.
Yeah.
Training heavy with UFC Hall of Famer Uriah Faber. And Tommy Brown training at Georgia Pro MMA. This is going to be his advanced amateur debut. The first time Tommy's been able to fight with punches to the face on the ground allowed. And I'm excited. Chad Risley coming off a tough loss to Abraham Perez, fighting for the title, but no shame in losing to him. Tommy Brown making his advanced amateur debut. I think it's the perfect time for these guys to fight each other. And both of these guys are just really cool guys, both of them. Chad is calm, cool, and collected, as is Tommy. And they both showed a lot of respect for each other. And, yeah, the fans are in for a treat for this fight. This is kind of like one of those, I don't want to say not talked about fights on the card, but it's maybe gone under the radar a little bit. And I think it's going to be fantastic. And I'm excited to see Tommy Brown be able to take off those shin guards and be able to throw ground and pound on the ground. It's going to be exciting. He's shown that he's well-rounded, as has Chad Risley. So, yeah, it's going to be a banger.
Looking forward to this one. I know there's a lot of talk. I had both of these guys on the pod. Shout out to Tommy for just fighting. A lot of fighters. Look, you deal with it all the time. Fighters pulling out of fights because X, Y, Z, and Q. Tommy's mother just passed away, and he's still making this walk. What are your thoughts on that?
Nothing but respect, and definitely condolences for Tommy Brown. And I was shocked, man. Like when he broke the news to me, after we talked a little bit, the last thing he said was, "All right, man. Well, hey, I'll see you on January 20th." And I was just like, "Damn, dude!" Like I thought we were leading into, so hey, if you think you could find Chad a replacement, nah, because I don't, like he said, and I know his mom, Melissa, who passed away. She actually helped set up the cage for us at Tannery Row on October 14th. Just to get a ticket in to see her son compete. That shows you the kind of lady. That just shows you like the Tommy Brown and his mom, like their character. You know what I mean? A lot of these guys are trying to get in for free, trying to sneak into the venue. She drove an hour and 20 minutes to set up a cage as a woman. You know what I mean? Just to get in to see her son fight. Like Tommy said, his mom Melissa would not have wanted Tommy to back out of this fight, or to make an excuse and back out of this fight. She would have 100% wanted him to fight. I know that. I've spoken to her plenty of times. She was a great woman. And I'm really excited for this fight. I really like Tommy. I really like Chad. Both guys, super respectful, super humble. And like I said a minute ago, the fans are in for a treat for this fight.
Fans are definitely in for a treat on this fight. Definitely one of those fights that you said is slept on, but we should not sleep on it. This is a comment. Winner gets a title shot?
Well, yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll talk about that 25-pound title later in the program.
We'll talk about the 125-pound title later in the program. That's a great question, though. Up next, we got Gunnar Willingham versus James Agee.
Yeah, another good one. Gunnar Willingham, 2-0 for the NFC. His one loss was for, I believe, Combat Night was like a unanimous or split decision loss, a close loss. But Gunnar is a powerhouse, fighting at a Champions Training Center, one of Moose and Corbre's top prospects as an amateur. And Moose, well, it seems like every time he's got a fighter fighting, they're really, really, really talented. Like, he doesn't put out a ton of fighters, but when he does put out fighters, they're really, really good. And, where some gyms maybe put out a lot of fighters where a lot of them aren't so good, maybe aren't ready, Mooshin will definitely not let you fight unless you're really ready to go. And Gunnar Willingham has shown that he's really great, has had 2 unanimous decision victories for us in his last 2 fights. And he's going against James Agee, who did not miss weight because he cut his hair in the bathroom at Monday Night Garage to make the weight. So talk about dedication. James Agee literally shaved his head in the bathroom to make weight at 137 pounds. And yeah, so shout out to James. That was really cool. But this is going to be Gunnar Willingham. I'm sorry. This is going to be both of these guys' first advanced amateur MMA fights. So yeah, definitely pumped about that. It's going to be the first time both of these guys are taking off the shin guards and that they're able to throw punches to the ground punches to the face on the ground. And James Agee is definitely very well-rounded. Gunnar Willingham, you can tell, has a wrestling base. He really showed it in his last fight.
Oh yeah, he was at Monday Night Garage, if I'm not mistaken, right?
His first NFC fight was at Monday Night Garage. His second one was at the Tannery Row on October 14th. He fought somebody from Black Orchid MMA who was making his debut, but completely ragdolled him. I mean, it was one of the most, kind of embarrassing wrestling, performances I've seen. It's not embarrassing on his end, on his opponent's end, like completely 30-24'd him across the board. And but when he got to the ground, wasn't able to throw punches. Now he's able to throw punches, and he's going against James Agee, who's super well rounded out of SVG Athens. And so yeah, it's going to be interesting. Him throwing punches on the ground for the first time, jiu-jitsu, everything being thrown in the mix. It's going to be good.
Shout out to you for, again, giving us that little bit of context. My man James Agee went back and cut his hair to make the weight. Shout out to him. Man,
he came out. I didn't know if he shaved his head. He missed a bunch of spots. So I was like, I don't know. Is this guy's haircut? Or like, I don't judge, whatever you want to do. But no, and then I'm on my way home and Tiffany goes, yeah, these people were trying to buy tickets. They said they saw some guy in a bathroom cutting his hair, and they were asking him what he was doing, and he was trying to make weight for a fight. They were like, a fight? There's going to be fights here tomorrow? And so, yeah, we actually got like 5 tickets sold off of James Agee just shaving his head in the bathroom.
He needs to get commission off of that. He needs to get commission off of that.
Yeah, we need to give him that $50.
Support a hustler. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to James Agee, though. Yeah, hopefully he gets tightened up, too. Like, get all the spots that you're missing. Our next fight, we got Anthony Rivera versus Ben Rainwater. Speak on it.
Yeah, so speaking of the sauna that David bought, Anthony Rivera was the first person to get in there. So he was fighting for a title, and if he doesn't make the weight, there's no title on the line. He came in at 128.8, so he's 1.8 pounds overweight. He immediately got in the sauna, and, dude, he was in there, I'm telling you, Julian, like 5 to 10 minutes at a time for the entire, 2 hours. So he played the game right. He didn't weigh in until about 1:30 because, once you weigh in, you have an hour. So he could have weighed in at 1, but he actually stayed in the sauna until about 1:30 to check his weight to make sure he had that extra hour to go and cut the weight if he needed to. And he came in heavy, still 128.8, was heavy, but utilized the sauna for the next, hour straight in that sauna. His opponent, Ben Rainwater, weighed in right on the money, I believe 127.0. When I saw him do his weight check, he was 127.0. He might have weighed in less.
126.6.
126.6. So yeah, he must have been spitting in a cup or something for a while. But anyways, unfortunately, after the hour wait, Anthony weighed in at 127.2. So yeah, man. Unfortunately, that sucks, but he's not going to be able to fight for the title. It still will be a 5-round fight. If Ben wins, he will retain the championship. But if Anthony wins, the title will become vacant. So to answer Tommy B, let's pay attention to that fight tomorrow. If Ben wins, Ben will retain the title. And if Tommy wins, maybe that's a fight we can make in the future. But if Ben loses, that title will become completely vacant. So then there's definitely that opens up the whole spectrum. So
fascinating. Again, that's why we have Jesse on the program to break down exactly what took place at weigh-ins, because a lot happens at weigh-ins, and this gives us an idea about how these things are shaping up. Anthony Rivera, Ben Rainwater will not be a title fight for Anthony, but will still be a opportunity for Ben to retain his title. Correct?
Correct.
That's 5 3-minute rounds. Now going on to our next fight. The 135-pound title is up for grabs. 5 3-minute rounds between Idel Gladney and Will Hughes.
Another weight miss. So Idel Gladney, his last fight caught some flack, for missing weight. I know there was talks like, you went down a weight class and missed weight. You were disrespecting them. Idel was out on a mission this time, was not going to miss weight, and came in like a true professional, made the weight, and you could tell he made the weight. He looked pretty drawn out, but, I could tell it was like, I'm going to make the weight this time. Nobody's going to say anything about me missing weight. I'm going to make the weight. And here's a side note. I had to call Idel on the way to the weigh-ins. So I got a call from Vic Rosati, who's Will Hughes' coach. Will Hughes was not doing so hot this morning. Had kind of a scare, and basically was not going to be able to make weight. Wasn't going to come in any less than probably 142 pounds. The fight was at 137 max for the title. So I had to call Idel, and I'm talking to him for a second. Idel, before I get too far deep into this, everything's fine. The fight's on, but Will is going to miss weight, and unfortunately, it's kind of a shitty thing for Idel, because for him to fight for the title, he has to make weight, right? And Will is obviously already going to miss weight. When I called Idel, he still had 2 pounds to cut. So, you got to think about it from a fighter's point of view. You're going, damn, dude, my opponent is going to be 142 pounds. I'm 139 right now. I'm 3 pounds less, and I still got to cut 2 pounds to make sure I'm eligible for this title. This sucks. Can you guys not just make this a title fight? But we can't do that. We don't do that. If we make exceptions for one person, we're gonna have to make exceptions for everybody. So Idel, like a true professional, really just stuck his nose down and got down and made the weight. Came in underweight, I believe 136.8, unless I'm wrong.
Yeah, yeah. Let me see, just to confirm. I believe you got that right though. But continue.
But yeah, underweight.
136.3.
136.3. And definitely dapped Idel up. Told him, hey, like, good job, dude. Like, way to prove everybody wrong. And not only way to prove everybody wrong, but way to still make the weight when your opponent has 5 pounds on you still. That's a strong mentality right there.
Wow.
But besides,
before we get to that a way to redeem yourself for what took place. Like that a way to make things right. I respect that.
Idel could have easily said, "Man, what the hell, dude? Well, I'm just going to start eating and drinking. Can we still make this a title fight anyways? I was going to make weight, you know what I mean? But he was like, all right, he wasn't super talkative, but he was like, all right, well, this sucks, but I'm going to make the weight. And he did.
That Marine spirit. That's that Marine spirit right there. I respect that. I respect that.
But besides all the weight controversy, now let's get to the fight. Idel Gladney versus Will Hughes is a fight, man. This is going to be a super high-level fight. 2 of the top amateurs at 135 pounds. Idel Gladney coming in. His only losses are to, Alex Gordy. His only losses to Alex Gordy. I'm sorry. And, it's just such a great fight between those two. Will Bad News Hughes coming off a first round finish over Brennan Johnson. Man, just both. Will Hughes, I just remember seeing Will Hughes' like debut, his first couple fights. This dude comes out there and throws, man. You know, he lost to Will Hughes, but had Will Hughes in trouble. Fought James Agee, who was also on the card. He was the first fight of the night on one of the amateur series cards. Him and James Agee both left out of there with black eyes, and just it was a crazy fight. Will Hughes is so fun to watch, as is Idell. Both are great wrestlers. Both are really good on the feet. Both are coming out of great gyms. It's such a toss-up fight, man. I really don't know what to pick. You know, Will Hughes is definitely going to have that advantage, I think, as far as like the weight goes, I would think. But he's also depleted. This is just me thinking off the top of my head. Yeah, he may have an advantage because of the weight, but he also had a bad weight cut. So how is that going to play into it?
Yeah, I want to talk about that a little bit more. Like, you know, you said that Coach Vic Rosati called you first thing this morning. Will weighed in at 143.3 to Idell's 136.3. And mind you, Idell is really coming from the 145-pound division. Now,
wow. So did you say 43.3 and 36.3?
Yes.
Shit. Julian, now that you're mentioning that, oh, man, had Idell came in 0.1 under what he weighed, if Idell had came in at 136.2, that fight would have been scrapped. They had to have been within 7 pounds of each other. That was literally on the nose.
Wow.
Like, I didn't even know that until you just said that.
I'm looking at it right now, and I'm like, dang, like,
wow.
I mean, how are you feeling? Like, I mean, when Coach Vic hits you up this morning and like tells you like how much weight it is, like for a title fight, like, did you ever consider this other 35-pound fight? Did you consider throwing a Brennan or a Jeremy in there, or this ain't the UFC, and so you know we're not doing that? But
I didn't think so. So Will Hughes has always been very professional.
Respect.
He's always made weight. He's a no BS kind of guy. Vic Rosati is a no BS kind of coach. So for Will to come in overweight, it actually surprised me. If I thought anybody was going to come in overweight, I thought it would probably be Idell. So for this to happen, yeah, it definitely shocked me and surprised me. And but like I said, shout out to Idell for just understanding, because dude, so much going on weigh-in days, and to get that call while you're in the process of making weight, I'm sure Idell was just like, man, God, like, oh, I don't want to deal with this drama. But just like I said, I have so much respect for these fighters. Just the fight's going down tomorrow night. If Idell wins, Idell walks out the new 135-pound champion. If Will wins, the title becomes vacant. It is what it is, but we have got a hell of a fight on our hands.
We got a hell of a fight on our hands. We're all looking forward to that fight. Now on to our co-main event. We got Shlomo Boyd versus Jason Wolf, 3 5-minute rounds. This is professional mixed martial arts.
Yeah, pro MMA. And not a weight miss. Shlomo Boyd cut 9 pounds today, which is awesome. You know what I mean? He told me, he said, I was in the sauna all day, bro. Like he said, I was in the sauna from 5 in the morning until weigh-ins. So shout out to Shlomo for, you know, being professional, making that weight. Jason Wolf made weight as well. A lot of respect for Jason, man. Jason is up there in age. He's up there having to get those advanced medicals done. And, you know, shout out to him for still being in there, going against Shlomo. Shlomo, wrestling-based fighter, I would say, a grappling-heavy fighter. Jason Wolf will come out there and throw down, and he's definitely well-rounded everywhere. Both guys are really, really fun to watch fight. We've seen Shlomo submit Zach Cooper from bottom mount, which is like unheard of. You never get a submission being on bottom mount. An Ezekiel choke over Zach Cooper, who I believe that was like one of the submissions of the year. I don't know how it didn't get it one year. Because, you know, when you're in bottom mount, it's pretty impossible to be doing great opposed to finishing a fight. But going against Jason Wolf, Jason has shown that he will go out there and throw down. He's a veteran in the sport. He's fought everybody, Nick Sprayberry, Zach Cooper, all the guys. He's fought everybody.
Yeah,
Warren
shout
Smith.
out to Jason Wolf. He was scheduled to fight against my bad. I had a brain fart. I had a brain fart.
I have them all the time.
Was it Christina?
You're talking about Lady Bree.
Lady Bree. Boom. Yeah, that boom. Lady Bree. That's what I meant. My bad. I want to make sure I was being respectful. Scheduled to fight. Like Jason Wolf, fight anybody. I respect Jason Wolf. Still in the game. Respect to him.
Yeah. He's cool. He's a great guy. I like Jason. I've known him for a long time. Fun to fight. Fun to watch fight. Like I said, really throws down on the feet. He's well rounded. Coming out of Striker Fight Center, cross trains over there with Warrior as well. You're not going to see. This is a guaranteed great fight. Shlomo Boyd and Jason Wolf, guaranteed.
Guaranteed great fight. Another guaranteed great fight is our main event of the evening. We got Chase Boutwell versus Malcolm Wellmaker. How did we didn't talk about this, but how did this fight even come about?
So it's a fight I've had my eyes on for a while for sure. I knew it would be difficult to make because both of these guys are definitely guys that I know are going to make it to a bigger level. They're both going to make it to Bellator, UFC, PFL, 100%. And so it's hard to get guys like that to agree to fight each other. And man, I was super blessed that Chase, 5-2 as a pro, agreed to fight Malcolm, who is 6-0 as a pro. This fight could easily be a UFC fight, a PFL fight, a Bellator fight, but easily a UFC fight. Both of these guys could be in the UFC right now. They're both super high level. Malcolm Wellmaker, undefeated, 6-0. Chase Boutwell coming out of Rush MMA, straight up killers. Faglier's Martial Arts versus Rush MMA, a main event. Those two gyms don't play around. And man, there's just so much involved in that. Like Amun Cosme is good friends with both of them.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these local guys, Walter McCord is cool with both of them. Like these guys know each other, but they haven't trained together. But man, dude, I just want to Malcolm, Chase, thank you for agreeing on this fight. While a lot of these other guys would shy away from it or pick different guys or go like, "Lou, I'll fight this guy, but once we get to a higher level, once we get to a bigger show." I'm glad, man. Like I said, it's such a high level fight. Oh man, I don't know what's gonna happen. Chase Boutwell is so well rounded. Malcolm Wellmaker is so well rounded. It's a toss-em fight, man. In my opinion, I have no idea what's gonna happen in this fight, but the fans are in for a treat. And I want to say this is definitely probably one of the best main event fights that I've been fortunate enough to make in a while.
This is one of those fights where like you'd be crazy to leave beforehand. I know a lot of people, they're going to have their fighters that are going to be fighting earlier on the card, but this is one of those, if you're a fan of martial arts, like you got to come see this one. And so I think that just about does it, because there's a lot of fights on this card that will give a combat sports fan their money's worth. So I believe the tickets are sold out.
Tickets are, unfortunately, 100% sold out. There is a pay-per-view available. If you go to nfcfighting.com, go to the NFC 161 event page. There's a pay-per-view towards the bottom. If you guys want to check it out, $20. There's two camera angles. I believe we're going to have some wireless cameras tomorrow night, so we're going to be getting some cool backstage interviews, a lot of cage side stuff, just a lot of different stuff. The pay-per-view is going to look a lot different than it has in the past. So if you weren't able to get tickets, definitely order the pay-per-view. You can go back and watch it the next day. As soon as it's over, you can immediately go back and watch it. You don't have to wait like a day or two for it to come back up. It's definitely great. I always go back and rewatch them all the next day, and it's really good to watch.
Awesome. Jesse, I know you got a date with the television this evening. Before we do part ways, man, final thoughts. You got anything you want to leave us with?
Yeah, just shout out to you, Julian, for doing this. I know you already did one this week. 2 podcasts in a week. It's a lot, man. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to just help us promote these fights and get everybody knowledgeable about what's going on with the fight card. It's going to be a great event tomorrow night. Like I said, we're starting earlier than normal. We normally start at 7, but because of the amount of fights we have on the card, we are starting at 5. The doors will open at 4. The first fight will start right at 5 o'clock. We're going to be booming back to back to back to back, pushing it through. There's going to be so many great fights, 3 title fights, 2 pro fights, a UFC high level fight to top off the night. And like I said, unfortunately, tickets are sold out, but guys, go to nfcfighting.com and order that pay-per-view. It's going to be a hell of a night.
Jesse Wable, you enjoy your evening. Thank you for your time. I appreciate the love, and thank you for the education on NFC's 161st show, which will be taking place January 20th. That is tomorrow. Doors at 4, fights at 5. We got 24 action-packed wrestling, Muay Thai, mixed martial arts contests. I'll see you then.
Yes, sir.